My name is Kevin, and a decade ago, if someone had told me I'd be living 3,000 miles away from my family, completely disconnected, I would have scoffed. Not because it seemed impossible, but because I couldn't imagine a life where I wasn't perpetually needed, always on call, and burdened with raising everyone else's kids. I was the middle child in a family of 5 siblings. Rachel, 3 years my senior, lived freely, unencumbered by responsibilities. The twins, Liam and Lily, were 8, and Noah, the youngest, was 5. My parents had demanding jobs. Mom worked long nursing shifts, and Dad's supervisory role had unpredictable hours. Reflecting now, I see how it all began. It wasn't intentional, just practical. Rachel had a part-time job at the mall, a boyfriend, and an active social life. I was the quiet, dependable one, with no apparent plans other than to step in when needed. Kevin, can you watch the kids for a bit while I run an errand? Became Kevin, I'll be back in a few hours. And eventually, Kevin, you're in charge until we're home. There was no discussion, no consideration of my own schedule, just expectation. By my junior year, I realized how entrenched I was. I was in the library drafting a college application essay when my phone buzzed. Kevin, I need you to grab the twins. Their after-school program canceled today. I stared at my unfinished essay. Mom, I'm working on college applications. Can't Rachel do it? Rachel's at work, you know that. The twins need you. I sighed, packed up, and drove to their school. The twins climbed into the backseat of the old Honda my parents let me use for family errands, which apparently included being their personal driver. This became routine. School, then straight to picking up kids, helping with homework, making snacks, resolving fights, handling baths, and reading bedtime stories. By the time my parents got home, often past 8 or 9 p.m., I was drained. Thanks, sweetie, Mom would say, heading upstairs. Dad would pat my head. You're a lifesaver, kid. No payment, no acknowledgement that I just worked a 6-hour shift as an unpaid caregiver, no recognition that I might have had my own plans, schoolwork, or life. Meanwhile, Rachel saved for college, partied, dated, and lived the teenage life I was deemed too responsible to enjoy. When I brought it up, Mom would sigh. Rachel's not like you, Kevin. She's not as mature. We know we can rely on you. In other words, Rachel could be carefree, but I was the responsible one, so I had to act like an adult at 17. When Rachel left for college, no one discussed redistributing responsibilities. It was just assumed I'd take on her share. My senior year was a blur of missed opportunities. Noah got sick, Mom worked extra shifts, and I couldn't join clubs, take SAT prep, or go to homecoming. There'll be other dances, Mom said. Family comes first. I returned my dress shirt and bought groceries instead. My guidance counselor pulled me aside. Your grades are strong, but colleges want well-rounded students. I wanted to tell her I was well-rounded, diaper changing, calculus tutoring, conflict mediating, and cooking for 5 in one afternoon. But professional unpaid nanny probably wasn't what colleges were looking for. One night, Noah knocked on my door, clutching his stuffed elephant. Kevin, I can't sleep. Can you read to me? I glanced at my college applications, then at his hopeful face. Sure, buddy. As I tucked him in and read Dr. Seuss for the 100th time, my chest tightened. I loved these kids deeply. But love had turned into duty and duty into a prison. The breaking point came in February of my senior year. Rachel called home, sobbing. She'd flunked 2 classes and was on academic probation. She was moving back home to figure things out, which meant reclaiming her old room while Mom and Dad supported her as she worked at the mall again. I was making after-school snacks for the twins when she arrived, lugging suitcases and dorm decor. She surveyed the house. This place is a wreck, she said. I gestured to Liam building Legos and Lily doing homework amid art supplies. Kids happened, kids someone has to care for, Rachel shrugged. Well, I'm back now. Maybe I can pitch in sometimes. Sometimes. The word lingered, an empty gesture. That weekend, Mom asked me to watch the kids while they took Rachel out to dinner to discuss her future. I spent Saturday evening helping with homework, breaking up twin arguments, and managing bedtime routines. They returned after 10 p.m., laughing at something Rachel said. Oh, Kevin, Mom added as she headed upstairs. Rachel needs the car tomorrow for job hunting. You'll have to find another way to school. I stared at her retreating figure. Rachel had been home a week, and already she was taking the car I'd used for 2 years to shuttle kids. Her job search trumped my getting to school. That night I couldn't sleep. I opened my laptop and searched for out-of-state scholarships. Most deadlines had passed, but one caught my eye. The Morrison Foundation Scholarship for students demonstrating exceptional resilience. Deadline, March 15. It was February 28. The essay prompt: describe a challenge you've overcome and how it's prepared you for college success. I stared at the blank screen, then began typing. For 3 years, I've been the primary caregiver for my 3 younger siblings while maintaining a 3.8 GPA. I wrote for hours about missed dances, late-night homework help, budget meals, soothing nightmares, and the blurry line between being needed and being used. The scholarship offered full tuition, room, and board at 12 universities. I applied to all 12, including ones across the country I'd never dared consider. Then I waited. March and April passed in the usual grind of childcare. Rachel helped with the kids exactly twice. Local college acceptances arrived, but none offered enough aid to let me leave. Then, on a Thursday in late April, while stirring mac and cheese and helping Lily with math, my phone rang. An unknown number. Hello. Hi, is this Kevin Mitchell? This is Dr. Carter Kim from the Morrison Foundation. I have great news. I nearly dropped the spoon. Lily looked up, sensing something big. You've been selected as a Morrison Scholar. Congratulations, Kevin. Your essay was remarkable. The kitchen seemed to tilt. What? Full scholarship to your top choice, Portland State University in Oregon. Tuition, room, board, and a book stipend. Oregon, 3,000 miles away, where no one knew me as the sibling babysitter. You earned this. Your strength and maturity were evident in every word. After hanging up, Lily tugged my shirt. Kevin, who was that? You look weird. I got into college, Lil, a full scholarship. That night, I told my parents. I expected joy, maybe pride. Instead, I got confusion. Oregon, Mom said, as if I'd said Jupiter. Why Oregon? There are good schools here. It's a full ride, Mom, Dad frowned. But what about the kids? Rachel's still getting settled. We can't manage without you. I stared. I'm 18, Dad. I'm supposed to go to college. Of course, Mom said quickly. We're just saying maybe somewhere closer where you could come home weekends for babysitting. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. The Morrison gives only 20 scholarships nationwide. Rachel, scrolling her phone, looked up. I think it's kind of selfish, honestly. The word hit like a slap. Selfish. You know Mom and Dad need help. You know I'm trying to get my life together. This feels like you're ditching everyone for some fancy scholarship. Something snapped inside me. Ditching? I'd spent 3 years raising kids who weren't mine, missing dances, test prep, and a normal teenage life because I was here for their kids. How is doing something for myself ditching anyone? We never forced you, Mom said, her tone sharp. You're part of this family and families help each other. Help each other. When did anyone help me? We fed you, clothed you, gave you a home, Dad said. You were just helping out. Just the unpaid help. The room went quiet, except for Noah playing with his toys, unaware of the tension. Finally, Mom spoke, her voice cold. If that's how you feel, Kevin, go to Oregon, but don't expect us to act thrilled about you abandoning your family. Fine, I said softly. I'll go. And since I'm abandoning you, I guess you'll handle childcare without me. I went upstairs and shut my door. For the first time in years, I didn't check if anyone needed homework help or bedtime stories. The next few weeks were frosty. Mom spoke to me in clipped sentences when necessary. Dad tried mediating, suggesting I pick a closer school, but when I refused, he joined the silent treatment. Rachel seemed almost smug, suddenly the good daughter by comparison. She even helped with the kids a few times, making sure Mom and Dad saw her reading to Noah or helping Lily with spelling. See, I overheard her tell Mom. I told you I could step up. Kevin always acted like he was the only one who could do anything. The twins sensed the tension but stayed out of it. Noah, only 5, just knew everyone was mad and Kevin wasn't reading to him anymore. I spent those weeks planning my exit. I researched Portland State, Oregon, and college life. I applied for a campus job, looked into student clubs, and bought dorm essentials with savings from my grocery store job. 2 weeks before graduation, Mom cornered me in the kitchen. Kevin, this has gone far enough. You're being absurd. I kept making my sandwich. I'm absurd. Yes, this Oregon nonsense is a tantrum. You're punishing us for some imagined slight. I set down the knife and met her eyes. Mom, in 3 years, how many of my school events have you attended? She blinked. What does that have to do with anything? How many? I've been to plenty. Name one. Silence. I made honor roll every semester, joined the National Honor Society, gave a speech at the awards ceremony, got into a scholars program. You missed it all because you were working or someone needed to watch the kids. Her face flushed. You know how demanding my job is. You went to every one of Rachel's volleyball games, her homecoming photos, threw her a party when she got into college with mediocre grades. That's different. How? Rachel needed more support. She wasn't as responsible as you. So I was punished for being responsible by getting more responsibility, while Rachel was rewarded for being irresponsible by having her responsibilities handled. It's not punishment, Kevin. It's family. No, Mom. Family is when everyone pitches in. Family is when parents care for their kids, not when one kid raises the others. Family is when a teenager gets to be a teenager, not a live-in nanny. I grabbed my sandwich and went upstairs. "Where are you going?" Mom called. "To my room to work on scholarship papers for the opportunity I'm selfish for taking." Graduation felt tense. My parents attended because skipping it would have looked bad, but they sat rigidly and left without suggesting we celebrate. Rachel, working at the mall, was home later. "How was graduation?" she asked, eyes on her phone. "Fine," I said. "Cool." That was the extent of my family's acknowledgement of my high school graduation. 3 days later, Mom found me packing boxes. "You're really doing this?" she said, not a question. "Yes. We've decided if you go to Oregon, don't expect to come back for holidays or summers. If you abandon your family, you're on your own." I looked up from my books. "Are you disowning me?" "We're not disowning you. We're saying you can't expect us to welcome you back when it suits you." "So you're disowning me." Her lips tightened. "Think what you want, Kevin, but don't come crying to us when you realize how tough it is out there." The morning I left for Portland, only Noah came downstairs to say goodbye, clutching his elephant in dinosaur pajamas. "Are you coming back?" he asked, serious for a 5-year-old. I knelt down. "I don't know, buddy, I'll miss you." He hugged me tightly, and for a moment I almost stayed. But Noah's hugs weren't worth sacrificing my future. "Take care of yourself, okay? Be good for Mom and Dad." He nodded like I'd given him a mission. I loaded my car with everything that mattered and drove away from the house where I'd spent 18 years caring for everyone else. In the rearview mirror, I saw Noah waving. Portland was everything I'd hoped. My dorm was small but mine. My roommate, Matt, from California, knew me only as Kevin, a psychology major interested in child development, a fitting irony. For the first time, my schedule was mine. Classes, study time, meals when I wanted, sleep when I was tired. I joined the psychology club, tutored at an elementary school, and made friends who saw me as witty, smart, and surprisingly good at beer pong, not the guy who left early to babysit. I called home twice that first semester. Both times, the conversations were polite but distant. Everyone was fine. They'd figured out childcare, no real updates. I stopped calling. The Morrison Scholarship included a mentorship program, and I was paired with Dr. Elaine Carter, a psychology professor specializing in family dynamics. During our monthly coffee chats, she helped me navigate my academic goals and the tangled emotions about my family. "It's normal to feel guilty," she said. "You were parentified, forced into adult roles too soon. When parentified kids set boundaries, they often grapple with guilt and abandonment, even though they were the ones abandoned by their parents' reliance." "But I did abandon them," I said. "The kids needed help, and I left. The kids needed their parents to arrange proper care, not to keep leaning on their son to sacrifice his future. You showed them it's okay to prioritize your well-being, that adults must handle their own choices." It took 2 years of therapy and countless talks with Dr. Carter to accept that leaving wasn't selfish. It was survival. By junior year, I was thriving. A 3.9 GPA, a research assistant job, and a girlfriend, Grace, who found my childhood stories heartbreaking and abnormal. I was applying to grad schools in child psychology, driven by my experiences but now viewing them through a professional lens. I'd built a life in Portland, friends, mentors who knew my potential, internship prospects, and a sense of self beyond my family's needs. I was happy. Then one October evening in my junior year, my phone rang. I almost ignored it, an unknown number, but something made me answer. "Hello, Kevin, it's Rachel." I sat on my dorm bed. We hadn't spoken in over 2 years. "Hi," I said warily. "Hi, how are you?" "I'm fine, you." A pause. "I'm not great, I'm pregnant, and I'm not with the father. I'm back home with Mom and Dad." Her voice shook. "Kevin, I don't know how you did it. I can't handle the twins, Noah, everything. And now a baby, I'm lost." The irony was staggering. Rachel, who'd called me selfish for leaving, was now seeing how much I'd carried. "Have you talked to Mom and Dad about getting help? They're working more than ever. Dad got laid off last year, took a worse job. Mom's doing extra shifts. They're barely home, and when they are, they're exhausted." "What about professional childcare?" She laughed, almost crying. "With what money? Do you know how much daycare costs for 3 kids? Even after-school care for Noah or summer programs for the twins, we can't afford it." I felt the old pull of guilt and duty. Noah was 7 now, the twins 10. They were kids and they needed care. But I remembered Dr. Carter's words about boundaries, enabling, and the difference between helping and fixing. I thought of my life in Portland, grad school applications, a research project with publication potential. "Rachel, I'm sorry you're struggling, but I can't come back." "Not forever," she said quickly. "Just for a bit until I figure things out, until the baby's born. And then what? You'll be a single mom with 4 kids instead of 3. How's that easier? Kevin, please, I'm desperate. I was wrong before. I know I was wrong. You weren't selfish. I get it now. I'm sorry." I'd waited years for that apology, but it came at the worst time for the wrong reasons. "Rachel, me coming back won't fix this. It'll just let everyone avoid solving it. Mom and Dad need to find sustainable childcare. You need to plan for the baby. The twins and Noah need stability that doesn't hinge on me. So you're just going to let your family fall apart?" There it was, the manipulation I'd expected. Even 3,000 miles away, I was somehow responsible for their chaos. "My family fell apart years ago," I said quietly. "When my parents decided one kid's future mattered less than their convenience. When you called me selfish for taking a life-changing opportunity. When I was disowned for not giving up my education to be your permanent nanny." Rachel was crying. "Kevin, please, we messed up, but we need you. You need help, not me. Look into state programs for single moms, check sliding scale childcare, find family support services. But don't ask me to go back to a role that nearly broke me. I don't know how to do that." "Then learn, like I learned to care for 3 kids at 17. Like I learned to navigate college applications while working as a full-time nanny. Like I learned to build a life without support from the people who were supposed to love me unconditionally." After hanging up, I sat in my dorm, alone since Matt was at his girlfriend's. Part of me wanted to book a flight home, the part conditioned to fix everyone's problems. But the stronger part, the one built over 3 years, knew going back would solve nothing and cost everything. I called Dr. Carter instead. "Kevin," she said, concerned as I recounted Rachel's call. "How do you feel?" "Guilty, angry, and relieved. Relieved it's not my problem to fix this time." She chuckled. "That's growth. Caring about people without being responsible for their problems." The calls continued for months. Rachel, then Mom, then Dad. Always the same. Things were tough. They needed help. Couldn't I come back for a bit? The guilt was heavy. I'd lie awake worrying about Noah's school, the twins' homework, Rachel's pregnancy. But I held my boundaries. Rachel had a daughter, Grace, in December. Mom sent one photo. She's beautiful. We're all fine. Seeing my niece, a tiny, dark-haired baby, stirred love, sadness for missing her first moments, and relief that she wasn't my responsibility. I replied, "Congrats, she's beautiful." That was my only contact with them for nearly 2 years. I graduated with my psychology degree and started a PhD at the University of Washington, focusing on family systems and child welfare. My research explored parentification's long-term effects on academic success, mental health, and relationships. It was personal work, masked as academic, and the most meaningful thing I'd done. I met others with similar stories. I wasn't alone, crazy, or selfish. I was part of a broader pattern, working to understand and heal from it. 6 months after defending my dissertation, my phone rang, a local area code. I answered without thinking. "Kevin, thank God it's Dad." He sounded older, worn. We hadn't spoken in years. "Hi, Dad. Kevin, we need to talk. Are you free?" I was analyzing data on trauma-informed childcare, but his tone stopped me. "I've got a few minutes. What's up?" "It's your mom. She had a stroke last month. She's not doing well. She's in rehab, but the costs, someone needs to manage her care. Rachel's overwhelmed with the baby. Noah's struggling at school." He rambled, words spilling out. "Dad, slow down. How bad was the stroke?" "She lost mobility on her left side. Her speech is impaired. She'll need ongoing therapy, maybe long-term care." "I'm sorry, that's tough." A pause. "Kevin, I know we haven't talked in a while. Things ended badly, but we need help. Rachel can't handle it all, and I'm working 2 jobs to cover medical bills. The twins are in middle school. Noah's struggling." "What are you asking, Dad?" "Could you come home? Just for a bit to help us figure this out?" The same old request, that my life was flexible, my priorities secondary, my value as the family fixer. But now, with 5 years of distance, a PhD, a career, and a clear sense of self, I was different. "Dad, I'm sorry about Mom. I am, and I'm sorry you're struggling, but I can't come back." "Kevin, please, we made mistakes, I know. You disowned me. Mom called me selfish for taking a scholarship. You didn't speak to me for 5 years. You don't get to ask me to fix problems that were brewing long before Mom's stroke. We didn't disown you. We were hurt you left." You were hurt I stopped being your free nanny. Silence. Dad, I love you, Mom, my siblings, but love doesn't mean sacrificing my life, not when you've shown my life doesn't matter to you. Your life does matter. Then why didn't it 5 years ago? Why didn't anyone care I missed teenage milestones to babysit? Why didn't anyone support my chance to build a future? We were scared. We didn't know how we'd cope without you. It was the first honest admission in years. Dad, that was your problem to solve, not mine. I was a kid. Kids shouldn't manage their parents' inability to handle their duties. We know that now. Rachel told us she couldn't handle it even for a few months. She said she doesn't know how you did it for years. I felt validation, then grief. It took 5 years and a crisis for them to see what I'd tried to explain. I'm glad Rachel gets it, but I can't fix this, Dad. I have a career, research, responsibilities. I can't drop everything to be the family fixer again. What do we do? What millions of families do in a crisis? Research resources, contact social services, look into respite care, home health aides. Find sustainable solutions that don't rely on one person giving up their life. We don't know how. Then learn, like I learned to care for kids at 17. Like I learned to navigate college and a career without family support. After hanging up, I sat in my office, watching parents bring kids to appointments through the glass, worried, hopeful, tired. I thought of my research on families healing from dysfunctional patterns. It was possible, but everyone had to change, let go of old roles, and embrace new ways of relating. My phone buzzed with a text from Rachel. Dad said you won't come home. I get why. Can we talk? I stared, then replied, I'm open to talking, but not about me coming back. If you want help researching resources for mom's care or childcare, I can assist. Her reply was instant. That help. I'm drowning, Kevin. I never realized how much you did. Over the next 3 weeks, Rachel and I had several long calls, not about my return, but about practical solutions. I helped her find state programs for families in medical crises, sliding-scale childcare, after-school programs, and respite care options. I even connected her with a social worker specializing in family support. It wasn't fixing their problems. It was empowering them to fix their own, something I'd never been allowed to do as a teenager. For the first time, I felt like I was helping my family without sacrificing myself.